Hi all. So welcome to the DevOps course. So today we are mainly going to discuss about your Git basic CLI command. Okay. So to navigate within the Git local repository, as you have seen in the previous session, I have clearly explained about this diagram, right, guys? So before going to do the complete hands-on part, okay. So whatever the hands-on part I am going to show you in the upcoming session is as per my real time experience as a DevOps engineer. Okay, but before going into that one, let me show you something. Okay, so you can see over here. So these are the different real time hands on scenario where we will be discussing, where we'll be showing where we need to implement git tag, git diff, okay, git stash, git ignore. These are the different scenario. These are the real time scenarios, okay, which we need to implement within our git repository, guys. Okay, but before going and implement those scenarios, you have to go through some basic CLI command. Okay, because these are the commands which I am going to use in a frequently basis. Okay, I have to use this command whenever I'll be performing any scenarios, whenever I'll be implementing any scenarios. I am going to use this command very frequently. So first you need to understand how these commands works. Okay, so let me show you this diagram. So last time you remember, right? So what all three components are there in your Git repository? That is your local repository, correct? That is your Linux server, which we have installed, correct? So the basic three components are your working directory, okay, and other one is your, guys, is your staging area, correct, and their local repo, correct. So we need to understand how we can check a file will be in your working directory, correct. That's what being a DevOps engineer, once the what is the job of these particular developers, what they'll do, they'll save this. They are not going to save, okay, any of the files. They are going to create the files. But as of now, in the current scenario, because there is no developer, so you only need to play the developer role, and you only need to play the DevOps engineer role over here, whatever I'm going to show you, guys. Okay, so coming back to the point, so these developers is going to create file under which directory? Under Paytm directory, which I have already explained you in the previous session how to create this directory, right, guys? So first, we what we have done till now, let me explain you once again. So let me take you through the previous slide. So in the previous session, what we have done the installation of your EC2 instance, right? So in that instance, what all prerequisites we have done? We have created an instance of T2 Micro, right? On top of that, we have installed your Linux operating system, that is 16.04, and then we have generated the key, that is .pem file, right? And then we have converted this pem file into the PPK format, right, guys, using by putty generator. And then we have updated our operating system, and on that top of that operating system, first we created a directory called Paytm, and inside that directory we have installed our Git, correct, that is version 2.7.4, and then finally we have initialized that repository. Now to navigate within this those repository, okay, and how to work within those repository, you need some handy commands. Those commands should be used till this session will be get ended, means until unless we will be performing all the scenarios, all the hands on, which is done in a real time production environment, you are going to use all those commands, correct, guys? So where we are going to use all those commands which I have shown just now, we are going to use within these three components only. Once the file will be inside this Paytm directory is created, then this file, how you come to know as a DevOps engineer that your file will be saved in working directory? There should be some way, right? As a DevOps engineer, you should know how to see, how to check that file is in working directory. And once the file is pushed from your working directory to your staging area, correct, from untrackable to trackable stage, so you should know how to check the status that the particular file is in staging area or not. And again, the finally, how to push the file, or how to add the file, or how to commit the file into your local repo within your Git internally, right? That's what we need to do. So there are few commands which I'm going to explain you now. Those are the Git basic CLI command we used to call it. That's what I was talking about. So this is the agenda of today's session, that we need to learn all this command first. before going and jumping into the different Git scenarios. Correct, guys? So let me start with this first command, that is ls. So first thing what we need to do is we need to log into our AWS instance. And correct, guys? So let me show you how to log into AWS instance. So we have already opened the AWS. Okay, log in here. And try to understand this one, guys, very carefully. Okay, I am explaining each and everything from scratch. Okay, from scratch to advanced level. This is how we work in our production environment, honestly speaking. And if you have any doubt, any queries, please write it back to me. I'll try to answer as soon as possible. So what service we need to use? EC2 service. I've also explained what is your EC2 service in the previous session, right, guys? Are you getting my point or not? Okay, now coming back to the point here. So in the London region, I have created the instance. Go to that London region. So also one more thing I just wanted to tell you guys over here is, whenever you start an instance, just as soon as you have done with the work, please stop that instance. Otherwise, you are going to charge like anything. Okay, it is fine if it is T2 micro, it is free tier. But if you choose any other type of instance, whether it's a medium, large, or anything, they will charge you for anything. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to start the instance over here. First, start the instance. So as soon as the instance will be start, you are going to get your public IP, guys. Okay, you can see it over here. So here you can see now your public IP is created. So we need to copy this public IP, and where, how to log into this server, guys? MOBA Extend. I have explained you what is MOBA Extend. It's a remote login client application which we use to log into the remote server which is located in some other region or any part of your world. Okay, so here you need to select the session. You need to click on SSH. This is a protocol which you use to connect to the servers. Okay, you need to give this IP. And as I said, what is the user? Because we have installed Ubuntu operating system 16.04, so the user will be Ubuntu. Okay, Ubuntu. Correct, guys? Click on advanced, and we have created the ppk keys for your Linux operating system. Correct, guys? Select that key. What is that? London.ppk. Correct. We need to select this one. Just click on OK, and boom, you have logged into the system. You have logged into the server of your Git, which we have installed the in the previous session, guys. Like, right? So what I'm going to do now over here is, I have increased the font for you so you'll better understand this one, guys. So just clear it out. Okay, and after clearing this one, so you know what is the first thing you need to do. Who am I? So as of now, you are a Ubuntu user. You are a normal user. That's what I have explained. Correct. And if you have to switch it to the super user, because if you have to install any package, then you need to switch it to the super user, because super user or a super administrator can do anything in this particular Linux operating system or any flavor of your Linux operating system, guys. So if you want to dig out more about the Linux commands, or if you want to dig out more about in depth of Linux operating system, so you can check my other course, that is Mastery in Corporate Linux with real-time troubleshooting, guys. So you'll get everything over there. Okay, fine. Coming back to the point, the next thing what we need to do is we need to switch it to sudo -i. Okay, to the root user. How we know that we are what we are? Who am I is the command to check I am a root user. First thing what you need to do, change directory, where you need to go /. That is the topmost level of all the directories in a Linux operating system. That is the root directory. Under whatever the directory will come under this root directory only. So if you have do ls, that is listing of all your files and directory with a brief information only with the name, so it's going to give you all the names. So these are nothing but bin directory, home directory, lib directory, mnt directory. So you are able to see something called Paytm. Correct, guys? So here what we need to do is, if you do ll long listing, so you will come to know all the details of these files or a directory, whichever listed under root directory is going to show you in detail information. These are nothing but these are your read, write, execute, read, write, read, execute, read, execute. These are the permissions for a directory and a file. Then this is the owner of this particular directory. This is the group owner of this directory. This is the size of that directory. And when this directory got created, this is that one, guys. Okay. Are you able to understand my point or not? Yes or no? So you can clearly see this is that representing, guys. What is it's representing? This is the when this directory got created, this boot directory got created. So this is a detailed information of this directory in a Linux operating system. We can see by using this ll command, guys. Now coming back to the point, if you do ls again, so you can see. Let me restart the session. The session got disconnected. Okay. So here, just go to the directory Paytm which we have created. Okay. So there is also one more thing I just wanted to explain you over in term of your Linux operating system. Okay. So just come out of this directory. If you want to go to the previous directory, you need to do cd dot dot one directory back. Okay. Just do ls over here. So you are able to see this directory is in green color, right? How this directory become in green color? Okay. So let me show you. If you do ll over here, so you are able to see all the directories are in blue color. The reason behind that one is whenever you create a directory in a Linux operating system, by default, the permission for that Linux directory will be 755. How? So you can see there is called read, write, execute, right? So this read stands for value 4, write stands for your value 2, and X stands for your value 1. So if you add this 4 plus 2 plus 1, that is 7. And again, for this part, it is only read and execute, means 4 plus 1, that is 5. And again, 4 plus 1, that is 5, that is 755. So the default value of a directory whenever it's get created in a Linux operating system will be 755. Okay. But here I have already changed the permission of this directory. So let me revert back to this directory to its default value. So how we can make it to the default value? That is chmod is nothing but change modification. You are modifying the permissions, and I am reverting back it to the default value of this directory of this Paytm. Okay, enter. So now if you do ll over here, are you able to see the Paytm is become blue and the permission? This is the default permission, guys. Okay. And now if you again want to give a full permission to this directory, that's what we need to give. Because so if you see this diagram, this one is your Paytm, right? Here only the developers are going to create all their files. Okay. Now coming back to here, you need to give 777. Okay. And then you need to give the Paytm directory name. Now if you do, so you can see now it's become green. So you have full permission on this directory. Now get inside this directory Paytm. Correct, guys? Once you get inside to this directory, what you need to do? You need to do ll. So you can see your Git is already installed over here. Right, guys? Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay. So now try to understand how we can use this command within the local repository. Okay, ls git status, what does this mean, all these commands? So the first thing is, first you need to understand this image. Always keep this image in your head, then only you will be able to operate with ease within your local repository, within that Linux operating system, guys. Okay. So working directory. So first, if you want to know a file which is available or created in working directory, how you come to know? A developer is created a new file, correct? Forgot about he modified something, forgot about you have to save the work. First thing you need to find out that whether the developer has created a file or not. How you will come to know the developer has created a file, that is file1.txt. So you can see over here we have, because since there is no developer here as of now, so I am only going to play the role of a developer over here, and I am only going to play the role of a DevOps engineer over here. So first what I am going to do is I am going to create a empty file. Okay, touch is the command in Linux to create an empty file in your Linux operating system, any flavor, irrespective of the any flavor, and I'm giving that file2.txt, guys. Okay, so it's going to create a empty file. So are you able to see this file? This is the permission of this file, this is the permission of this file, and the file is of 0 KB. So touch command is create a file. There are many commands in Linux, you can use those command and create a file. That cat command is also there. If you want to know more on this one, so you can check my Linux course. Okay guys, fine, which I have already explained you. Now coming back to the point, so here you are able to see file2.txt, correct? So this file is empty, but or the first thing is that part I'll show you later on. Just now we have created this file, correct? So the thing is, how as a DevOps engineer you know that the file is in working directory. Only these three components you need to understand. The first, the file will be, whenever the file will be gets created, the file will be in working directory, and to know the file will be in a working directory or not, you need to execute the command called ls. This is the first thing you need to do whenever you log into a Git repository, that is your local repository of your Linux operating system, guys. Okay, now so you are able to see file 1 and file 2 is available over here, right? So this is what the first command I have told you. Now what is that second command? Git status. So git status is what? So git status will tell you whether the file will be in trackable or untrackable. I have explained this one very clearly. If you whenever the file will be in working directory, the file will be in untrackable, right? And once the file will be pushed to staging area, then only the file will be in trackable stage, correct? So if you run the command called git status, so are you able to see anything? There are two files which is in untrackable stage, means there are two newly created file in your working directory. There are two newly created file in your working directory, and you are able to see here also it's mentioning also untracked file. These files are not trackable. So being a DevOps engineer, if you want to know any modification will happen to this file or not, so always you need to execute this command called git status. Execute this command all the time, then only you will come to know there any new file is created or is there any modification happened to the file, to the existing files. That's what you will come to know with this git status command. So first it is showing the file is untracked files, correct? Means the file is still where? The file is still in working directory, correct guys? Now the next step what you need to do is, as soon as you see a file is in working directory, what you need to do, you need to push the file to the staging area. Then only you should be able to track the file. I said very clearly, the file, if before and after, means before the staging area and after the staging area, the file will not be in trackable mode. If you really wants to track the file, what modification happened to the file, then what you need to do is, first you need to push the file or you need to add the file, you need to add the file into your staging area. So how we can add the file to staging area? So that is, that command is called your git add command, and you need to give the file name, guys. So let's get executed so you will understand better. So git add, what file you want to add first? So I want to add the file 1.txt, guys. Enter. Now the next thing, I want to add the file called file2.txt. Okay, file 2.txt. Enter. Now execute git status. Always remember, you have to execute this command all the time. Git status, one is ls. Whenever you execute the ls, you will come to know, so these two files are showing in working directory, correct? This is an internal architecture of your git repository, just try to understand. Now you have pushed, right? You have added the file to where? So you are not doing move and copy. Don't think in that term, guys. Okay, I know what's going on in your mind, that if the file is showing in working directory and if you move the file from working, I'm not moving the file, I'm just adding the file. It means the file has to go to local repo, means there is a copy of that file I'm saving in staging area. Adding the file to staging area, what modification has done in the local in the working directory when the newly file got created. Okay, So I am adding that file to the staging area, guys. So how you will come to know that file is added to staging area or not? So the command is called git status again. So are you able to see now the file is in green state? What does that mean? Means you have changes to a committed state before committing. This is now the file is in trackable mode. Now the file is in trackable mode, and where is the file as of now? The file is in staging area. Guys, is this clear for you or not? Okay, now try to understand. Once the file is in staging area, you have pushed the file to staging area and you have added the file to staging area, because this is only the area where you can track the file. Now the file is trackable. Now again, one more thing, if you want to save the work of this developer, whatever, even if he created a new file, or even he'll make an modification of the existing file, so you want to save his work. That's what, if I am doing anything in this paint, so I have to save my work, so their work also has to be saved. So how you can save his work? By using commit command, you can save his work to the local repo. Let me show you how we can do that, cut. So here you are able to see something called git commit is the command -m, and you need to put a relevant message over here, guys. Just try to understand this one very carefully. And now I'm going to show you one real time troubleshooting also over here, which I have not done, which I have left as it is, because I have to show you how we can troubleshoot that issue in front of you only. Okay, so now thing is, I have to commit, right? I have to save his work. How I have saved, how I can do that one? So git commit. And whenever, guys, there is also one more thing. If you want to see whatever the commands I'm showing over here, so those are the commands which I am using in my production environment, which I have done practically. Okay, I have implemented this command. There are many commands available with the Git. Okay, so don't think that if I'm not showing those commands, it doesn't mean that. So you should not practice those commands. Okay, so what exactly the important command, which is you should be directly going and start working as a DevOps engineer. So these are the commands which you can use. So if you do git hyphen help, you will come to know what all options are available. You can use it with the git. So these are the option, and if you want to know more about git, then you can do man. It's just like your linux only. Okay, so man, and then you need to give git. So are you able to see the definition of git? Now you'll start laughing. See, it's telling this is a stupid content tracker. So this is what. So try to dig out more and more, and if you scroll down more, so you are able to see what all options with the git we can use it, guys. Hyphen c, hyphen small c, okay, hyphen xu, hyphen info path. So there are many options you can use with. So whatever the command in git will start with git only, guys. Okay, you can see all the options. So you can see git add, just now we have used, right? Why git add we have used? Add the file content to an index. That's what we have done. So git branch, this will be using later on. So these are the some of very important commands which I am explaining over here. So there are multiple commands, around 400 options you can use it. So I cannot show all the options to you at a time, which is used in production environment. Those options only I am showing over here. Correct, guys? But just coming to the point, the next thing what you need to do over here is, so just try to understand over here, you need to push it to the local repo to save his work, to commit his work. Okay, so I am going to do it. Okay, first what you need to execute, git status. There are two files which is in staging area. Now from your working directory to we have added to staging area. Okay, now it is trackable. Now I am going to do git commit. Okay, and -m means what message you want to put it over here, which should be relevant to this file. So what we have done is we have created, because there is no developer, so you only need to mention these things over here. Okay, the developer is created the file, but being a DevOps engineer, you have to commit. So you need to mention it like this: created file, because this is a newly created file. This is not modified file. So you need to put a message according to that: created file 1.txt. Okay, or anything, file 1 or anything, enter. So are you able to see anything, guys, over here? Guys, just try to understand. So it's giving you some error also. See, it's asking you, see, just read this one. I just wanted to show you, just read this one. Okay, so what is it telling? Commit root and something it is telling over here. Okay, your name, email address were configured automatically based on your username and host name. Are you able to understand? No. So it's giving you also, because of this you are getting error. Git config hyphen hyphen global hyphen hyphen edit. What does that mean? Again, it's telling after doing this you may fix the identity used for this commit with. And also it's telling git commit hyphen hyphen amend hyphen hyphen reset author. What is this author over here? Try to understand this one. So there is a command over here which I have mentioned. What is that command? Git config hyphen global user dot name and the author name. This is the command, guys. Git config hyphen global user dot name. Because of this only it's giving error. I could have done this before only, but I just wanted to show you how we can troubleshoot this issue. So it's asking you whatever the commands you are executing or whatever the files you want to save or commit. So for that file, there should be a author, right? Author means nothing but author will be your developer. How you will become to know who developer has created this file? Being a DevOps engineer, if a developer D1, suppose XYZ, Abhishek is a developer. Okay, Max is a developer. If Max is created that file, so how you will come to know has Max has saved the file? Correct. So you need to create a author name. You need to create the email address of that author name. Okay, so inside your Git repository, you have to create the workspace for each and every developer. That's what I was telling continuously. What we were doing in Git repository, we are creating the workspace for whom? For your developer. Means you have to register this developer. You have to create a login name for this developer. You have to create a email for this developer. Then only you will come to know, right? So without registering him only, how you will come to know? It will be a guest kind of a, right? If you log into a website, you need to register first, right? Then only you will be then only you will be identified that Abhishek has logged into the system. If you have to fetch the detail of Abhishek, so I have to register first, right? You cannot log in as a guest. Okay, so this is what same thing here also. You need to, this D1 developer is nothing but call it as a author over here. So first you need to create a username with this developer name. Guys, are you able to understand or not? So how we can create this one? So the author name or the username, this is the command. So this is also one interview question. They'll ask you how we can create a username or how we can create a author in your Git local repository. So and they'll also ask you what is this hyphen global. So this hyphen global is nothing but this is call it as a your syntax. This is just a syntax. Okay, this is nothing more than that, guys. So don't get confused over here. So there is some mistakes I have done over here. So it should be hyphen hyphen global, again hyphen hyphen global, guys. Okay, make it correct. Okay, no issues with that. Now coming, why I have explained this much? Because I have to show you how we can troubleshoot this one. Now coming back to here, before committing, so you need to fix this issue. You need to create a developer. You need to create a author. So once you want to see the detail of this particular who created this file, so you will come to know that particular developer has created this file, or whatever changes he have made in that file, whatever modifications he have made in that file, you will come to know by use of this author name only, that I'll show you now. Okay, first you need to create a author name over here and then the author email ID. So how we can create that, guys? So what is that command? Git config. You can use it, this one only. Okay, git config hyphen hyphen global. Okay, and then you need to give the user dot name. Okay, and what you need to give the author name in double quotes, guys. So I am going to give the author name over here is as my name only, or you can give it to any name which is relevant. So I'm going to give as a Max, okay, or you can give John, anything. If you want, you can do it. Enter. Done. Now again do the same thing, again try to commit, okay. How we can commit? Git commit, okay, hyphen. Now first, what always execute the command, just see what is there as of now status. So it's telling there is nothing, there is still telling there is nothing to commit as of now, there is nothing to commit as of now, okay. The first thing what you need to do over here is, I'll explain you again. Now we have created a new file, now I'm going to modify the existing file. So again the file is pushed to where? Now the file is available under your local repo, guys. The file is already available in the local repo. How you come to know that file is already moved to the local repo? But you have moved the file to the local repo without having the author name, without registering that file with some author name. So that will be a problem, okay. So but anyways I'll show you here, just try to understand this one. So here if you see this git commit is there, git ls files command is there, right? So this git ls file command will show you the file will be in local repo or not. So execute this command. So git ls files. So you can see both the files are in, both the files will be in your local repo now. Means the file is moved to local repo, not moved, the file is saved to local repo, the file is committed also. But I'll show you one thing, okay, that you'll understand now the difference why I have registered this user Max, okay. So if you want to see the detail of these files, okay, what is happened with these files, what is happened with this file. So there is a command to know the detail of these files, so called git show, and you need to mention the commit id. But before to this one you need to uh, you need to run this command called git log. So git log command is nothing but it's going to show you the history of that command, sorry, show you the history of that file name. Means you know in Linux there is something called history. Whatever if I execute over here history, so you are able to see whatever the commands I have executed. These are nothing to do with git. This is your Linux operating system command. History is a Linux operating system command, and it's telling me what all commands I have executed till now, because I have installed git on top of your Linux operating system, correct? Now understand here very carefully, okay. So I said very carefully, so what was happened to your git just now, whatever the commands you have executed, and so how you will become to know what is happened? So how? By the logs only, right? So you need to give a command called git log and then the file name, okay. So just do a ls first, it will show you the files will be in working directory. Now if I run a command called git log, okay, and I have to give this file name. So are you able to see something over here, guys? Are you able to see why I have registered that user? Now you'll understand. Now understand very carefully. Here, this file author is telling root. There is no, that is EU waste dot compute dot internal. What is this? There is no developer name. You will never come to know as a DevOps engineer that who created this file or who modified this file. How you are going to come to know until unless if you not registered a author, correct, for this particular git repository, okay. How you will come to know who is the developer? Because there won't be a single developer, correct, there could be a multiple developer. So you need to register, you need to create a username for each and every developer, then only you can track them, right? There should be a name, there should be an email id, right? So that is what I have done that time. Now understand. So because we have not done that one previously, so this is why the file was showing with root something, this name is there. Now the next thing is the git log command will show what? So git log command will show you the history of that file. It's nothing but it show you the history of that file. What is the history of the file? So whenever you do a git commit, understand this one very carefully, guys. Whenever you do a git commit, there will be a commit id generated each and every time. Means whenever you save a file from staging area to local repo, each and every time there will be a commit id generated, and at the same time it will show you on what date and who is the author of that file. Are you able to understand or not, guys? Okay. Now so this is what the git log command will do. It's going to show you the history of that file. Okay, very simple, very easy. There is no rocket science involving this one. Now try to understand this commit id. You are able to see it's big, right? It's huge. You cannot remember, you cannot do this, you cannot run this command all the time, right? So you need a short form of the commands, right? So same thing, if you want to see it in brief, like ll command and ls command is there, right? What ls command do? If you execute a ls command, so it will show you this one, correct? It's going to show you only the name of the file. But if you do ll command, it is going to show you in detail of those files, right? What all permission, who is the owner, who is the group owner, what is the size when it's created, correct? So same way here also, if you you cannot execute this command all the time. So if you want to see the same detail in brief, then you need to run a command called git log hyphen hyphen one line hyphen hyphen one line, and then you need to give the file name, guys, file1.txt. So now you are able to understand. See, same id what is here. And this is also one interview question. They'll ask you what is, how many digits are there in your commit id. When you execute a command hyphen hyphen one line, how many digits will be there as a commit id? So commit id is nothing but this is the history of a file. Okay, if you want to see the history of a file, so every time whenever if you save a file, whenever if you save a file from your staging area to your local repo, it's going to create a commit id, and that is your history of the file. And this commit id is attached to whom? That message which we have written over there. You remember, I have written hyphen m called created file1.txt. So this should be relevant to this id. Okay, that is what called, guys, git hyphen hyphen one line and then the file name. So no need to use this git log and file name, the big thing, this one. So this is what the next command was there. That's what I have mentioned over here. Git log hyphen hyphen one line. Now, if you want to see more detail of this file, what was happened with this file? So first the file got created, correct? And what we have done with this file, just try to understand. So the developer has created this file, file1.txt. As a DevOps engineer, you have checked the file is in working directory with the ls command. Now you have added the file to staging area with git add command, right? And the file name. Now from there you have saved the file to the local repo with the git commit command, and hyphen m you have given the message, guys, correct? Now if you want to see all these things in detail, how you can see? So there is a command called git show. Okay, git show, and you need to give the id. What id? Your commit id of that file. See, it's giving you full detail of the file. Are you able to understand my point or not? See, new file mode, it's telling initially the file, even it's telling you the file got created, the date, who is the author. Because why the author was not showing, I just wanted to show you this one intentionally, because we have not registered the author initially. So the first task what you need to do whenever you initialize your git, okay, the first thing before creating a user or before creating a file also, what thing we have done? The first step, we have created the file by touch command. You remember? Don't do. The first thing is what you need to do is you need to execute as soon as you log into your git repository inside to Paytm directory. First thing is you need to create the user, this user. the author, the developer name, you need to register, because then only you'll become to know who is creating a new file, who is the developer who is modifying the file. Then only will come to know. Now understand over here. So what we have done over there, we have just created the username, but we haven't created the user email. User means what? User is nothing but user is here your developer. Don't get confused. Okay, that is the user. So now I'll show you again. It will throw same kind of a error. So till now we have created a new file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the file. Okay, just see. So we have something called the file is in working directory now. And if you first thing always run this command git status, there is nothing to modify. There is nothing to commit. Git status is means showing you there is nothing to commit now. There is nothing to save now. There is no modification happened to your this particular local repository. Okay, so now the file is file1.txt. I am going to put a data inside this file. So you can put the data by using echo command. So what I'm going to put, I'm going to put here, okay, modifying file1. And where I want to put double quotes, I want to append the data to which file? To file1.txt. Correct? That's what the file1.txt, guys. In this file I want to modify. Enter. Know how you will come to know the file is modified or not? Always execute this command git status. See, it's telling you the file is modified. Again, the file is where now? The file is in your working directory because it's in untrackable. What next you need to do? Tell me fastly, fast guys. Say you need to push it to the staging area. How we can push it to the staging area, guys? How we can? Git add. Git add. How we can push it to the staging area? File1.txt. Now what next you need to run? To check the status again. Okay, git status. The file is in green. The file is in staging area. Now again I am going to commit this file. This file will commit again, but it's going to throw one same error which I'm going to show you. Intentionally I am doing this one, guys. Okay, so I have to commit this file. I have to shape this file where you have to. So you need to keep this diagram in mind all the time. You need to now the particular file is in staging area. You need to push it to the local repo. How we can push it to the local repo, guys? Git commit -m, right? And this time the message will be different. You have modified the file, right? Modified file 1. You have not modified, the developer has modified, and you need to, so his work has to save to the local repo. Okay, how you will come to know his work is saved or not? So you need to do this work as a DevOps engineer. Okay, let me make you very clear. Enter. Again, see, this time earlier it was throwing, now it's telling git config -- global user dot name, and two things it's asking you to execute. Are you able to understand why? The file is saved to local repo, that is fine. The file is saved, already saved to local repo, but it's throwing these two messages. The reason is still the user is not at all registered fully. You have registered the user, but you haven't created an email ID for that user. So you need to do that one, guys. Okay, so let me show you how we can do that one. So before to this one, what next you need to do? You need to check the history. How you can check the history? Git log. Okay, git log, and in one line, hyphen one line. Don't use that one, git log and directly file name. Okay, git log hyphen one line, and what is that file? File1.txt. So the new, again I said, right, whenever you do a commit, each and every time there will be a commit ID gets created. Now if you want to see the detail of this file, how we can see the detail of this file in full detail? Git show. Okay, give it to this ID. Now you'll understand here. See, the second time you have modified the file 1. Now here again the author is registered. Now it's showing you with the author name, but there is no email ID. So how you, so you know who is doing this particular changes, who is modified this file. But if you have to intimate that developer, how you are going to do that one? So you need to register his email address also. How we can do that one, guys? So for that one, git config, here only, see, each and every time git will give you the option. Okay, just copy this entire line. You no need to remember all these things. So this is how we troubleshoot in production environment also, guys. Git config hyphen hyphen global user dot email, and what max at the rate of, just now I'm creating something like that. Okay, at the rate of gmail.com. So in production and in your organization, this could be your XYZ company name will be there. That domain name will be there, guys. Okay. So fine, enter. It's registered now. Now I'll show you. Now this error won't come. Okay. So what next? You need to execute all the time. Execute this git status. So there is nothing to there is nothing to commit now. Git status will to tell you that that there is nothing to commit now, because everything is saved to where? Is saved to your local repo. How we can check this one? Git ls files. Correct. Now again I'm going, this time I'm going to modify this file too. How we can modify this file too? Again echo, give that modifying file 2, and in your file2.txt, enter. Now run. Is there any modification happened to your local repository or not? What command you can check? Is there any modification happened to your global sorry, in your local repository or not, in your git repository or not? Git status, always use this command. Yes, there is a modification happened in your git repository. That's what, man. Correct. So what you need to do next? Keep this diagram in mind. You need to push it to the staging area. How we can push it to the staging area? Git add and the file name, file 2.txt, guys. Sorry, remove this one, file2.txt. How you'll come to know the file is pushed to your staging area or not? Enter. File is pushed to staging area. Now you need to push it to where? You need to push it to your local repo. But remember, this time, from the last two times, whenever we try to push it to your local repo, we were getting these messages each and every time. Second time we got this message, registered your user email address. First time also, whenever you tried the same thing, you remember, correct? So it's telling you the same thing, correct? This one, correct? So this time it's not going to show you, guys. This time it's not going to show you. If you run the command called git commit hyphen m, and you need to mention what? So here you can do two ways. Okay, you can give the file name also, git commit, and you need to give the file name, which file you want to commit. Okay, so file2.txt hyphen m, and you have mentioned modified file 2, correct? Enter. See now, guys, isn't it? This time it doesn't ask you anything. Reason is because this time you have registered the author with the username and with the email ID. This is what these two commands are, stands for: git config hyphen hyphen global user dot name. Author name you need to provide git config hyphen hyphen global user dot email. Author name you need to provide. This is the why I have shown this command at last, because this is the first thing you need to execute before executing any of this command whenever you are uh, going to your git repository, guys. When you are inside your git repository, then only you will be able to identify here who is the developer. Who is the developer? Is nothing but your author, and he created a new file with his detail. Okay, now if you do, now you do this what command? That git, if you want to know the history of this file, what is that? Git log hyphen hyphen one line, right? Hyphen hyphen one line, one line. And what you need to give, guys, over here? correct? What is that? File2.txt. See, for file2.txt there is a id, correct? Now what next you need to do? You need to do git show. Okay, use this id. Are you able to understand? See, this time it's giving you the author email address also. The username is Max and the user email ID is this. This is what we have registered. Earlier it was not showing. Earlier it was showing what? I can show you. I can show you that also. If you want to see that one, you can see. So here the last time it was only showing the username, and this is something different, right? Now it is showing properly with the author username plus the email ID also. So if you want to intimate the user means your author or your developer, you can use his email ID. This is how we can identify. We have modified the file, guys. Guys, is this clear for you or not? So guys, these are the command which you need to execute on a day-to-day basis. Okay. Now in the upcoming session when I'll be discussing the different scenarios, git tag, git diff, git stash, git ignore, these commands I am whatever the commands I have shown just now, whether the ls or whether the git status, git add, git commit, git ls file, git log, git hyphen hyphen one line, and git show, these two are only ones. You don't need to do again and again. If you have to register multiple users, then you need to do this one, guys. Okay, so this is how we can operate within this git local repository, guys. And if you have any doubt, any queries, please write it back to me. I'll try to answer as soon as possible. Thank you for watching this video, guys.